So before we move to the lesson proper, so we as natural creatures, we tend to identify, follow patterns. We recognize patterns. Kumbaga, natural sa atin na makapag-recognize ng mga patterns. Even our ancestors recognize the repeating interval of day and night. So they gained awareness of these patterns kaya nakapag-survive. Just like the flowers, it follows certain pattern, such as the arrangement of leaves, stems, the shape of snowflakes, petals, or even the shape of the snail's shell. So, in this topic, we will be looking at the patterns and regularities in the world and how mathematics comes into play. Mga applying kumbaga yung mga different subject in math, yung algebra. It can explain how quickly water becomes contaminated at kung ilang tao din yung mako-contaminate. A study of geometry can explain the science behind architecture. Yan, statistics, probability can estimate death, earthquakes, conflicts, other calamities around the world in medical field. Kumbaga, how much will you add a certain chemical will you add if you are going to pursue medical research kasi yan sa mga drugs mapasobra lang ng grams or mapasobra lang yung dagdag mo sa isang component, maaaring malaki ang magiging effect. Kaya nauuso ang trial and error. So the learning outcomes develop one's understanding about patterns, to identify different patterns in nature, to recognize different symmetries in nature, and to explain the presence of Fibonacci in nature. So what is mathematics? So here at the slide, it is the study of pattern and structure fundamental to the physical and biological sciences, engineering and information technology, to economics, and increasingly to the social science. A useful way to think about nature and our world. Then lastly is a tool to quantify, organize, and control our world, predict phenomena, and make life easier for us. Kumbaga, mathematics helps organize patterns, regularities in our world. And again, katulad nga sa na-mention ko kanina, yung earthquakes, it can predict the behavior of nature and phenomena in the world. Kumbaga, mathematics can also help us control this nature and occurrences in the world for our own ends. Kumbaga, madaming applications against the mathematics. So, wherever we go, there is math. Simply measuring ingredients, controlling the heat, pagpaplan ng vegetarian celebration today. Then the importance of knowing and learning mathematics. So why do we want to observe and describe patterns and regularities? Why do we want to understand the physical phenomena governing our world? Why do we want to dig out rules and structures that lie behind patterns of the natural order? It's because those rules and structures explain what is going on. Predicting events, they provide clues, yeah, can predict interference in the motion of heavenly bodies, predict lunar eclipse, as well as the comet's appearances. Position of the sun and moon relative to the earth can predict high tide and low tide events affecting human activities. Kaya, kasi may mga movie din na talagang yung application ng math, kukunin lang yung latitude or yung parang mga numbers na makikita sa map, kukunin lang nila yung mga data na to, yung speed ng incoming siguro mga mga rockets or yung mga spaceship na galing pa sa outer space. Kumbaga, saan sila tatama? Depende sa bilis, kumbaga, anggulo, yun. Kaya, nalalaman talaga nila kung saang exact location just by computing the gathered latitude or numbers or data. Kahit nga yung mga simpleng uh, mga archaeologists, yan, they use variety of mathematical and statistical techniques to present the data from archaeological surveys. Kumbaga, they will find pattern about the past human behavior. And the nature of mathematics. So, according to Stewart, on his book Nature's Number, mathematics is a formal system of thought that developed. Kumbaga, uh, it developed in our minds and evolved our culture. Realization of form, then understanding measures. Again, realization of form. In the long run, our ancestors have realized the existence of form in their surroundings. So, nakapag-develop sila ng science to measure, gain the ability to count, to assess, mag-quantify, magsukat ng lahat. Yan. Recognizing shapes made its course towards classifying contour and using those designs to build human nature. Human culture. So, ancestors were able to notice, to recognize hints about patterns. So, as a result, we made use of mathematics as a way to understand the nature by analyzing, by comprehending the structure of its underlying patterns and regularities. Yeah, mathematics is a tool, yeah, forming new ways to see problems, to understand them by combining insights with imagination, decipher patterns, relationships, and logical connections. So, again, it is not about numbers, formulas, and symbols, but rather, yeah, decipher patterns, relationships, logical connections. Kumbaga, a new way to see and understand the modern world. So here in the figure, yeah, mathematics is a or an. Kumbaga, it portrays the function of mathematics. Kumbaga, as shown at the figure, it's stated that mathematics is a set of problem-solving tools. It provides answers to existing questions at magpe-present ng solution. Kumbaga, it has the power to unveil the reasons behind such occurrences, nakakapag-explain. Moreover, mathematics as a study of patterns allows people to observe, experiment, discover, recreate. On the other hand, mathematics is an art, a process of thinking language, for it involves reasoning, mga inductive and deductive reasoning. From inductive, yeah, from specific to general. Deductive, general to specific. Okay, different kinds of patterns. Well, patterns in nature are visible, were regular forms found in the natural world. We learn to predict and again control the future for our own advantage. And patterns of visuals, unpredictable and never quite repeatable. Ang mga yan, ang mga branches of trees, yung kidlat, the veins in our body, the leaves, the seeds, yan. Yan, patterns of flow. The flow of liquids provides an inexhaustible supply of nature's pattern. Yan, flow, water, stone, growth of trees. Yan, patterns of movement. In the human walk, the feet stride the ground in irregular rhythm, the left and right. And more examples: flight of birds, pulsations of jellyfish, wave-like movements of fish, worms, and snakes. Patterns of rhythm follow a regular repeated pattern of sounds or movement, or any that forms or follows a default pattern. Now, patterns of texture we sense through touch. Geometric patterns consist of a series of shapes that are typically repeated in a predictable manner. Okay, symmetries in nature. I just uh, put the terminologies again and its corresponding. A human body exhibits bilateral symmetry. Animal movement and symmetry of motion is present in animal movements. We can see that their movements also exhibit symmetry. A sunflower, both radial and bilateral symmetry. Snowflakes, sixfold radial symmetry. Honeycombs or beehive, examples of wallpaper symmetry. And starfish, radial fivefold symmetry. Kumbaga, as we have observed naman on the starfish, kahit iba't ibang itsura ng mga yan, ay symmetric pa din yung kada, kumbaga, parang galamay nila. And even in snowflakes, sixfold pa din sila kahit iba't iba yung kanilang parang imprint or itsura. Patterns found in nature. So waves and dunes. So any form of disturbance that carries energy as it moves. Yan, just like the sea waves and the sand. Yan. Spots and stripes. Kumbaga, depende yung magiging stripes at yung spots ng isang animal. Depende sa chemical reactions and diffusion process. Spirals, curved pattern that focuses on the center point in a series of circular shapes that revolve around it. Yan, just like pineapples, sunflower, kung mapapansin nyo yung arrangement of flower seeds, uh, it occupied the flower head in a way that it maximizes their access to light. Talagang sila ay hindi nang basta nasa isang lane lang, kundi ay sagitan. So they could maximize the necessary nutrients. Yung spirals, there is a center point, tapos parang may uh, parang half circle silang nabubuo. Yan. Symmetry is a sense of harmonious and beautiful proportion of balance or an object is invariant to any various transformations. So we have under symmetries reflection or line or mirror symmetry. Yan. Left is the same as the right. Rotation or radial symmetry. It captures symmetries when it still looks the same after some rotation. Ni-rotate mo ng 90, 120, 180, ganun pa din ang itsura. Then translations, we see in nature and man-made objects. So that's all for the first topic.